So the vast majority of deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon is driven by cattle ranching. So this is a large-scale clearing for, to raise cattle. And a lot of this deforestation isn't really for producing beef. It's actually just to gain access to land. So people will clear the land. They'll put some cows on it. They sort of get quasi rights to the land, and then they sell the land to someone else and try to make money that way. Beyond that, large-scale agriculture is also a significant driver of deforestation. So soy, although that's been declining. And then you have smallholders who clear forests to feed their families. So those are all significant. Brazil is developing some dams that are having that will potentially have a very large impact by both flooding forest, but also but also creating a lot of electricity that will be used for forest clearing. So powering mining and industrial agriculture. Mining is also a very large driver of deforestation in the Amazon. And then you have some illicit activities that cause problems too. Especially here in Colombia, you have coca cultivation, which has an impact on forests. So there's some hopeful trends that I see with addressing deforestation. One of them is just people starting to recognize the value of ecosystem services. So you have more economics coming into environmental issues. So trying to quantify the value of carbon storage, of water. So the idea of REDD, which is reducing emissions from deforestation and degradation, which is essentially developed countries paying tropical countries for conserving their forests. I think that's really exciting. There's still a lot of details to be worked out, but that could really lead to some interesting developments. And beyond carbon, which is for REDD, there's water services. So, for example, Brazil depends on electricity for around 80% of its electrical production. And so Brazil started to look at what happened if we lost the Amazon rainforest and what would that do to our electricity generation. And based on that equation, they were able to determine that the forest has a value of $200 per hectare just for that environmental service. So that's really exciting. There's also some things happening in the private sector that are interesting, and a lot of that is being pushed by environmental groups. So because corporations are increasingly driving deforestation instead of smallholders, environmental campaigners can go after these corporations and kind of push them to try to adopt better criteria for sourcing their products. And so what you're starting to see now is corporations respond to these campaigns by implementing new sourcing policies that try to eliminate deforestation from the supply chain.